Hey there, today's project is on this little Craftsman mower. Finally getting some rain around here. This one was a actual pretty big restore on it, in the sense that the deck needed to be replaced because the mounting holes were not in the correct, they were actually broken on the old deck. So since these are modular decks, oh, I have to move inside, guys. Sorry about that. So anyway, with this one, once I had to pull the motor off, obviously, because it wasn't on the deck, to do the replacement. So the carb, I assume, needed to be cleaned. This actually had a couple little homemade jobs. One of them, which was kind of strange, was right here. I can't see it, but this little thing here, there's actually a hole. Looks like somebody drilled right through the cap, straight through. Maybe they had a problem and did a little YouTube search, and somebody said your cap might not be venting, so they did that. But the problem was that it was letting rain or anything just go right in there, so it was filled up with a lot of, I think it was actually filled with water when I got it. So I drained that out, and then I had the motor off, so I took the bowl off on the bottom. The bottom jet was clogged up, so I cleaned that out. And normally it wouldn't do sort of a half job of cleaning the carb, but since it was off, I could flip the motor up, I could get underneath, I could pull that bowl. I did it that way, and put everything back together. Took it out for a test cut. As you can see, the grass clippings around here, and it was running fine until about after about 10-15 minutes it sort of stopped idling. Well, it wouldn't idle up, it would just kind of idle, and then as I hit some grass or try to engage the propel, it would just stall out. So first I thought maybe something's going on with the throttle, or because I did have to adjust. There's a little rod in here to adjust the idle speed, so I did have to tweak that a little bit. But I noticed that as it was running, it was kind of not idling up, and this has a primer bulb on it. If I covered up this primer hole here while it was running, it would kind of smooth out and run kind of normal. So there's a little check valve in here. I have another video about when that doesn't work, that when you push this it won't prime. So I thought maybe it was that. The valve opens up back here. Can't really see it, but I can link that video. So I try to clean that, just shoot some carb clean here. It didn't really work. Then I kind of took a break from it, thought about it for a while, and was like, well, what's going on if I'm holding this? Well, this pushes air into the bowl to prime it, but it's also an air vent, atmospheric vent, to keep the pressure in the carb at atmosphere. So when I block this up, as the fuel sucks out, it could actually become a little bit of a vacuum in there, and maybe that's helping to push the fuel through to bring it up to the proper speed. So really, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm figuring that maybe because there was junk in this tank, even though it dried out and everything, maybe something could have got washed down, got down into the carb. As I was using it, it was jouncing around, shaking this up, and maybe something got sucked up, and basically that main jet there get blocked up. So I was going to do a start on this so you could kind of hear what it's doing, but weather's not cooperating. But symptom basically is that it'll start, it'll run, but it will run just at a low idle, and as soon as you try to engage the wheels or cut through anything, it stalls out. And the only time that it smooths out a little bit, like I said, if I do this thing here with blocking off this vent. So basically I'm gonna take the tank off, blow out the tank, get in here, and probably expecting to see some kind of crud jamming up inside that emulsion tube. So let's go over onto the bench and take the cover off and get into this area here. Okay, got a little break here. Let's see if we can maybe possibly get a start here for you. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, so here we are back inside. It was going to be such a rainy day here. Not complaining though, use it. Mower sales kind of suck right now because there's really no rain. So nothing's really growing, but had a little problem with that one, so kind of wasn't looking forward to pulling this off. Well, came right out. So I had that rigged up in there to try and stabilize itself, so I'm gonna have to do that again. But right now we're just addressing this carb issue. Still fuel in it, so it's not out of fuel, but I want to clean that out. Did check the flywheel key when I was in here before, reset this this coil, was a little off. As you can see, this does work, so it's not binding up. You know, maybe there could be an air leak there. I don't know if that would, and that shouldn't cause, yeah, I don't think that would cause a problem like what we're experiencing. So we got a couple bolts here, 8mm and 7mm, two here, two 8s, two 7s. And then we can pull this off. We can pull the tank right out. So let me, I'll save you some of that, and I'll just yank that stuff all off. Come right back. Okay, so yanked off this carb. Here's the tank. So let's see if we got flow here, just in case that could be the problem. We seem to be flowing gas fine. Just gonna blow a little air through here also, just to see if I can force anything else out. So it doesn't seem to be a problem at the tank. So let's open up the carb. See what if we got anything on that side. Okay, let's pop the bowl off. 2.7 millimeters right here. Just let that drain back out through the main opening of the carb. Okay, so I'm going to separate the bowl. See something right in there. Whether that's on the inside or the outside, I'm not really sure. But it's definitely obstructing it. So I'm going to spray that out and put it back on. Okay, so I'm almost certain that this is plugged on the outside. As I look down here, probably can't see it, but I could see all the way down to the silver ball down there, and there's nothing in there. Plus this little bit of gunk that's in here. So little gunk came down, I guess, through the tank, through the fuel line somewhere, got into here, dropped into this lower section here, and got sucked in this little port. And that's part of the problem with these, is that there's no, once something goes in there, there's no way to get out. You know, like on the older bull nuts, they had a hole that went straight through. So even if some garbage got in there, it could come out the other side. Once this goes in, you know, fuel doesn't flow backwards in here. And even if you prime it, it's just going to, you know, it's going to get stuck in there basically. And unless it can go through that hole, it won't come out. So I'm going to shoot this out from this end here. And if that's on the outside, then it'll clear. So that's all the labor required to fix it. Other than obviously taking it apart. Now you can see beautifully that it's completely clear and open. And well, there was a little gunk in here to begin with, so can't really say what piece was actually stuck in there, but there you go. So perfect looking now. Oh yeah, clean this up a little, put it back on, and we'll give it another start. Okay, so I got everything back. Let's give this thing some fuel and fire it up. Empty tank. Give it the 3 primes. guys, so I gave it a little governor adjustment there on the idle, because when I was test cutting with it, I upped the idle a little bit, probably because that stuff was maybe starting to clog up in the jet. But now since I removed that, so that shows you why on these kind of engines they're maybe not the most liked, because they're kind of finicky. Just see a little piece of particle if something got in there, and you know, had to go in the shop. So, but it's also another tip that you know, I would suggest to, you know, test out the stuff that you work on, because you know, this had been sitting a long time. The carb was clean, but as it ran, something, you know, came out of the tank, the fuel line, whatever got in there. So if I sold this to somebody, they'd have cut it for 20 minutes and then, you know, said, hey man, this thing don't work. So anyway, just needs a cleanup now. But that's the new deck on there. The front end and the back end are from the original. Actually, this one did not have a side chute originally, so I added that. Have a bag for it. It's a front wheel drive, self-propel, nice condition. Well, practically new really, because I repainted the deck. So remember to like and subscribe. Thanks guys.